Guess what, everyone? Tericaellis must have listened to us as well as wallyyaghnam, because they both pleaded guilty to the crime of Andre Montgomery Jr. being lined up to be killed based for insurance money. So, in other words, it's over for timnorman. You know what? I'm going to take that back. It was over for him the minute he set that whole thing up, going back to 2014. But, I'm going to be professional with this because I'm going to read this from the United States Department of Justice. So, they did a press release where they basically stated that Terica and Waiel entered guilty pleas. So this is according to the United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri. And this was released on Friday, July 22nd. 2 defendants enter guilty pleas in Sweetie Pie's murder for hire scheme. St. Louis. United States District Court Judge John A. Ross accepted a plea of guilty from Terica Tanisha Ellis and Waiel Yaghnam on today's date. A grand jury in the Eastern District of Missouri previously indicted Yaghnam and Ellis in August of 2020. Additional charges were filed in November 2020 for Yaghnam and Ellis for their roles in the murder for hire scheme involving James Timothy Norman and the death of Andre Montgomery. Judge Ross set sentencing for October 26, 2022. According to the plea agreements, beginning at a time unknown, but up to and including March 14, 2016, and through the date of the superseding information in the city of St. Louis and elsewhere within the Eastern District of Missouri, Terica Ellis, James Timothy Norman, and others reached an agreement to use a facility of interstate commerce, namely a cellular telephone, to commit a murder for hire in exchange for United States currency in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1958. In 2014, Norman obtained a $450,000 life insurance policy on his 20-year-old nephew, Andre Montgomery, on which Norman was a sole beneficiary. Ellis and Norman had been involved in a sexual relationship for several years, preceding the events of March 14, 2016. At Norman's request, Ellis met him at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel, where they spoke and engaged in sexual intercourse. Afterwards, Norman and Ellis spoke about Norman's nephew, Andre Montgomery. Norman showed her a photograph of Montgomery and asked if she knew him. Ellis advised that she had previously met Montgomery at the Bottoms Up, an exotic dance club in East St. Louis where she worked as a dancer. Norman advised Ellis that he was looking for Montgomery and needed her help to find him. Norman further explained that he was upset with his nephew. She informed Norman that Montgomery had introduced himself to her as a rapper from New Orleans while at Bottoms Up, and at the time they had exchanged phone numbers at the time. Ellis agreed to assist Norman in locating Montgomery. On March 14, 2016, Norman had advised her that he was looking for his nephew, and Ellis knew that Norman was upset and frustrated by his inability to locate Montgomery and knew that Norman was going to take some form of action relative to Montgomery. Despite this, Ellis did not take any affirmative steps to disavow or defeat the purpose of the commission of violent criminal activity. On March 14, 2016, in the days leading up to Montgomery's murder, Ellis communicated with Montgomery and informed him that she was planning to be in St. Louis. On March 13, 2016, the day before Montgomery's murder, Norman flew to St. Louis, Missouri, from his home in Los Angeles, California. On March 14, 2016, Ellis and Norman communicated using temporary phones activated that day. Ellis also used the temporary phone to communicate with Montgomery and learn his physical location for the purpose of luring Montgomery outside. Immediately after learning Montgomery's location, Ellis placed a call to Norman. On March 14, 2016, at approximately 10:02 p.m., Montgomery was killed by gunfire at 3964 National Bridge Avenue in the city of St. Louis. Ellis's phone location information places her in the vicinity of the murder at the time of the homicide. Immediately following Montgomery's murder, Ellis placed a call to Norman and then began traveling to Memphis, Tennessee. In the days after the murder, Ellis accepted a cash payment of $10,000 in U.S. currency from Norman in exchange for, among other things, finding out the location of Montgomery, causing him to come outside and relaying the location information to co-defendants Norman and Travell Hill. Hill subsequently shot and killed Montgomery. Hill pleaded guilty to the charges on June 3, 2022. On March 15, 2016, the day after Montgomery's homicide, Ellis deposited $3,020 in U.S. currency into her checking account at the Orange Mound branch of the First Horizon Bank in Memphis, Tennessee. On the same day, she also deposited $4,340 into a savings account opened that day at the same bank in Memphis, Tennessee, for a total of $7,360 in cash deposits. On March 17, 2016, Ellis deposited an additional $1,900 in U.S. currency into her checking account at the same branch. These deposits were all cash proceeds from the agreement she made with Tim Norman. On March 18, 2016, Norman contacted a life insurance company in an attempt to collect on the life insurance policy he had obtained on his nephew. According to Yaghnam's plea agreement, prior to Montgomery's murder, Norman conspired with Yaghnam and his insurance agent to fraudulently obtain a life insurance policy on Montgomery beginning in October of 2014. Norman and Yaghnam submitted 3 separate life insurance applications, all containing numerous false statements regarding Montgomery's income, net worth, medical history, employment, and family background. In the life insurance policy that ultimately issued, Norman obtained a $200,000 policy as well as a $200,000 accidental death rider that would pay out if Montgomery died of something other than natural causes, and a $50,000 10-year term rider that would pay out if Montgomery died within 10 years of the policy's issuance in 2014. Following the murder of Andre Montgomery, Yaghnam placed 2 telephone calls to one of the insurance agencies seeking to file a claim on the life insurance policy James Timothy Norman owed on the victim. On March 30 of 2016, Yaghnam placed a phone call to Forrester's insurance agency lasting 10 minutes and 2 seconds. On May 21, 2016, Norman submitted to Forrester's via U.S. mail a written claim on his life insurance policy on Andre Montgomery. On July 6, 2016, Norman received a letter via U.S. mail from Forrester's indicating that Forrester's still had not received the finalized report, toxicology, and coroner's reports necessary to proceed his claim on the life insurance policy. Between August of 2016 and November 2016, Norman repeatedly contacted Forrester's in connection with his attempt to claim the life insurance policy. In or about September of 2018, Norman retained an attorney to represent him in connection with his attempt to claim the Forrester's life insurance policy. That attorney subsequently sent a letter to Forrester's indicating that Norman had authorized the attorney to file a lawsuit for failure to promptly pay the life insurance claim. On September 26, 2019, Forrester sent Norman a letter via U.S. mail advising that as of the date of the letter, Forrester still had not received all the documentation required to adjudicate his claim on the life insurance policy. Co-defendant Travell Hill pleaded guilty and is awaiting sentencing scheduled for September 20th, 2022. James Timothy Norman is currently awaiting trial. The case was investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. In other words, you did it all for nothing, James Timothy Norman. This man could still be alive today, and you wanted to ice him out for money for $450K? And from what I did my research on, you only got 50 of it. You did it all for nothing. And Terica Ellis turned on you after you paid for her butt implants, her body work done. Waiel, I knew was going to flip on you. Waiel I really believe he really didn't know anything about the murder. I really believe that. Based on the timeline of him after interacting with this man and setting this up with their life insurance from 2014, he had nothing to do with the murder. He really didn't. I really believe that. But Terica, you ain't no good. You ain't shit. And I'm glad to see that you used your senses and pled out, because you was facing, like, I think 30 something years, 25 years. What they gonna give her because she had to get Travell to do this? I think what they're gonna do, they're gonna give her 20 years, and she's gonna get time served, and she's probably gonna end up doing 15. Waiel is probably gonna end up doing 10, but he is sentenced to 10. But no, he's gonna be sentenced. No. Terica's gonna be sentenced to 30. But she only going to end up doing 25. Waiel is going to be sentenced to about, I would say 16 years. But he's going to end up doing 12. Travell is going to do life. But he might end up doing maybe 40 years. But Timothy Norman, you ain't never getting out. You ain't never going out. And they flipped your ass. They turned on you. Because they not offering you no pleas. You going to trial. And I'm looking forward to seeing the trial. I'm going to be reporting about the trial. And with that being said, it's your girl, Miss Analytical. I'm signing off. Stay tuned for some more commentary that I'm going to post. And I'll be back later. Stay cool.